expectation is at your high. Dear friends, never forget, recognize and express gratitude to the people who helped you. Maybe the person is your male person, or your doctor, your brother or sister. Just expressing a thank you is simple, but it is a powerful. All to PM.
Thank you, Toastmaster Joshua. I think I'll add one more resolution to my 2016 resolutions of being more grateful and thankful to the people around me and people who are helping us out. Does anyone know what the most popular resolution is? That's repeated every year. Exercise. Sorry? No, not that one. Exercise. Yes, exactly. Going to the gym and exercising. Worldwide, for the last 4 years, people have been promising themselves that they're going to get more fit. Even people who are like proper supermodels, like people, athletes as well, have been promising themselves that they're going to get more fit, they're going to go to the gym, and they're going to exercise more. I'll leave you with that thought if you're planning to adopt that resolution as well. Our next prepared speaker is TM Manikavel. He is giving his CC2. He's the general manager with Aegis India Consulting and is managing the construction of the metro rail project between Washroom Pet and Egmore. When I asked him about his thoughts on the New Year resolution, it was very simple. He doesn't have one. His evaluator is TM Ilyaraj, and since he's doing his CC2 and we just had the objectives explained, I invite Toastmaster Manikavel to give his speech, The Big C.
வாழ்வே மாயம், பயணங்கள் முடிவதில்லை, இதயத்தை திருடாதே. Anyone have an idea what is all these? Movies. Yeah, great. These are all movies of the 80s, right? They are very popular, super hit movies. On top of that, these have a common thread connecting all these movies. Can anyone guess? Ilayaraja. Other than that? Any common?
Disease, cancer.
Yes. Okay. So all these movies have a stories revolving around cancer patients. The stories of Big C patients. Good morning, fellow Toastmasters and guests. In the 70s and 80s, I knew cancer only through movies. We used to joke that if you see someone very bubbly, effervescent in a movie, I'm sure he will be diagnosed with cancer in the later half of the movie. Right? Cancer used to be a subject of fun, humor among our friends. But 2 incidents in my life changed the way I viewed cancer. The first incident happened in the year 1990. I was in my final year college and I received a letter from my mother. Leaving aside the regular, how are you, take food regularly, take bath, okay, take oil bath regularly, okay, leaving aside all those, she said that one of my cousins by the name Shekhar was very sick. He lived about 60 kilometers from my college, so I decided to pay him a visit. So on a Sunday morning, I went to Kumbakonam where he lived. His wife was at the doorsteps. She received me and she took me to the bedroom. So at the doorsteps of the bedroom, she left me and moved away saying that she would make a coffee leaving me alone at the steps of the bedroom. I entered the bedroom and saw in the bed a very thin, skeletal man with bald head. My cousin Shekhar used to be a very healthy, very energetic, very good looking, with curly hair and a nice twirling moustache. That's what I remember him the last time I saw him. So I thought this could not be the man. With shivering hands, I got closer. As I got closer, I realized, yes, it is the same cousin Shekhar who was just in his early 40s. When I got closer, he was lying there, bedridden, and I don't know whether he recognized me or not. But he started trying to say something. His lips moved. But the voice was so feeble that I could not hear anything from him. So with a heavy heart, after spending few minutes with him, I moved out of the room. I started a conversation with his wife, trying to understand what went wrong. And then she told me that he was diagnosed with lung cancer. And I asked her why we didn't go for a surgery. Because he was in his early 40s, he was still quite young. Then she said, yes, they went for a surgery. Halfway through the surgery, the surgeons realized that the cancer was well spread and it was in a very advanced state. And the surgeons decided that further proceeding with the surgical procedure could just kill him there itself on the surgeon's bed. So they decided to abandon the surgery halfway and told that he has to be on palliative care. That means he started counting his days down. Right? So in the next few days, he passed away. And I realized cancer is no more a subject of fun. The second incident shook me much more. This time, my father was complaining about cancer, stomach pain, and then we took him for to consult with the doctor. The doctor, after going through a lot of preliminary tests, he suggested endoscopy for him and biopsy. Okay. On the night when we completed the endoscopy and biopsy, I had a premonition. I felt that something is going to be wrong. Something is not right. And the next day, our worst fears came true. My father was diagnosed with stomach cancer. Right? Then he was about 80 years old. So the surgery was not an option. The doctors said that he could not survive surgery and he cannot take it. So we abandoned, and then again for the next 3 months I saw him dying in front of my eyes. I could not do anything. I could not face my mother. And he passed away on September 1st, 2013, on the same day of the wedding anniversary of my parents. In both cases, one of the major hurdles for treatment was late diagnosis. My father was very old, but at least my cousin could have lived on for a few more years. So, let us all make a resolution for 2016 that we should go for regular screening tests for cancer. Manisha Koirala, a cancer survivor, has a simple message to us. Don't let cancer take us by surprise. Will you?
Thank you, Toastmaster Manipul. It was a very moving speech and a fantastic resolution that I'll definitely tell all my friends and family members to adopt for the year. One of the most popular resolutions, again, that has been repeated over the years, is also one of the causes of lung cancer. Can anyone tell me what that resolution might be? Exactly. It's an awful habit. It is something that there's a warning sign on the box that says, please stop smoking. In fact, in a popular Hindi movie called PK, they say that you're trying to commit suicide if you're smoking because it's written on the box. It's dangerous, but you're still smoking. Our next speaker is Toastmaster Prabhakar. He's a mechanical engineer and an entrepreneur dealing with nuts and bolts. He says after a spiritual turn, he started to take things in life as they come. There are no surprises or disappointments. He looks forward to every day as a new year, and I'm sure he has a new resolution for every day as well. He's going to be giving his CC4 today, and his evaluator is Toastmaster Arvind. It's Toastmaster Tushar. I request you to read his objectives.
Thank you, TMOD. My target speaker is going to give Project 4. The objectives of CC4 are: select the right words and sentence structure to communicate your ideas clearly, accurately, and vividly. Use rhetorical devices to enhance and emphasize ideas. Eliminate jargon and unnecessary words. Use correct grammar. Timer, please note, time is from 5 to 7 minutes. What do you do?
Invite Toastmaster Prabhakar to give his CC4. Hachiko, I love you.
The greatness of a nation and its moral progress can be judged by the way its animals are treated. This is a quote by Mahatma Gandhi. Have you ever heard of a statue being erected for a dog? Can you believe the dog was present when the statue was opened? Good morning, Toastmasters, and welcome, please. There were many pets we had in our lives. We had ducks, we had dogs, we had cats, but one of the most common pet was fish, which we had in our early days. And when we had the fish in the tanks, we used to see a lot of colors. We put a lot of colors: green, blue, red, yellow, all those colors. It is such a sight to see those fish. We also had a dog, and that dog was very fond of us, and we used to have a group it every other day. In fact, I wanted to start with a small quote. Sneha is a beautiful actress, and the smile can send a man crazy. One day when I was sleeping, she was coming towards me. Then I saw my face was wet, but then it was my favorite dog licking my face. Studies have shown that rearing pets reduce stress, reduce tension, reduce anxiety, and gives a lot of pleasure for us. The dog is a man's best friend. Dogs are used for rescue operations, is used for sniffer dogs are used to take out bombs from anybody who is hiding the bombs, and elderly people who are needy or disabled, they will use dogs as their guide for walks, and it's a lovable pet. Dogs have, and studies have shown that it reduces our tension and pressure. Dogs have uncanny knack of looking into us and trying to understand our feelings. What is it that we are thinking, our gestures, our body language. It even looks into eyes and to see what we are thinking of. One such dog was Hachiko. Hachiko was born in November 1923. Professor Ueno adopted that dog, and after a couple of weeks, when Professor Ueno used to go to Tokyo, he was an agricultural scientist working in Tokyo. From the suburban station Tsukio, he used to go every day to Tokyo, and when he returned back, Hachiko would wait for him at the Shinjuku station. And the professor and the dog used to walk back to their homes. This continued for 2 years. One day, the professor did not come. He suffered a severe cerebral hemorrhage and died. But Hachiko would wait at the Shinjuku station every day. This went on for days, went on for weeks, went on for months, believe me, years. People started to notice, commuters who were seeing that the professor and the dog used to go there and the person was not there, but the dog used to be there. One of Professor Ueno's student, he wrote an article in a Japanese magazine, and this gave a big sensation in Japan about the loyalty of the dog to its master. People started to take this dog as an example of how loyalty should be there in families. And this, the story of Hachiko started to go into children's schools also. In 1934, the Japanese, they erected a bronze statue in memory of Hachiko. And Hachiko himself was present at the unveiling of the statue. The wait for the master was, believe me, 9 years, 9 months, and 15 days. This was something unheard of in the history of man-animal relationship. By now, Hachiko became world famous. A movie was produced in Hollywood with the name Hachi, a dog's tale, and acted by Richard Gere. In our lifetime, we can have a lot of benefits by wearing pets. We find people are highly stressed and go to psychiatrists and go to psychologists for getting some treatment, find out what is the problem with them, and wearing pets gives them unconditional love, which is very simple, very easy. But then this wearing of pets comes with responsibilities, and we will be rewarded with their unconditional love. Hachiko is one of the stories of the bond between man and animal. It is something unheard of in history. And I dedicate this speech, CC4, to the memory of Hachiko. Hachiko, I love you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Prabhakar. I think dogs are one of the man's best friend, as so they're called. I myself have 2 Rottweilers at home who are quite huge, and I won't lie, most of my guests think that they're extremely scary, but they're the most friendly and the most loving and caring and intelligent dogs that you can find. If anyone is dropping by Gandhinagar, do come home and you can see them, but it's up to you whether you want to play with them. Our next speaker is one of the most calm and composed speakers I have come across. Her words, her speeches can move you, and her words can really pierce your heart. She has the best pauses and the best timings for her punchlines in her speech. I'm talking about none other than Toastmaster Aishwarya. She'll be doing her CC4 today, and her evaluator for the day is Toastmaster Arvind. Since we've already read out the objectives for CC4, I request Toastmaster Aishwarya to give her speech on personal space. You're standing in it. I'll get out of his personal space.
Good morning, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Is personal space needed in any relationship? I pitched this question to my social circle. All my married friends came forward with an enthusiastic and big yes. Understand? Because people tend to be be with their better halves all the time in marriage and would lose a little of their individuality. But to my surprise, a lot of single people, committed people, even mothers too, were of the opinion that personal space is indeed very important. We all would have faced a similar situation at some point in our life where we would feel that our space had been intruded upon, or vice versa. Calling your partner consistently over phone when they're out with their friends. Tracking their activities constantly. In case of a child, a boy or a girl, who had always been under parent supervision, would tend to lose self-confidence and in turn would question their choices and decisions they make. They seek for constant validation from friends. A popular American daily published an article saying that more kids are being diagnosed with depressions. One of the main reasons for this is suffocation in their lives, emotionally and psychologically. These kids would turn violent to establish their identities. I've seen it with my own eyes. One of my distant relatives was brought up under strict parenting. He was not even allowed to step outside and play with kids of his own age. One day his dad passed away. And this adolescent boy, who had always been under constant monitoring and too much pressure, bursted out as a violent teenager. His mother could no longer control it.